Hey guys, so in today's video I wanted to talk to you about this insane 1 to 10 risk to reward trade that I took on GBP USD that I've been holding since yesterday. And just to show it to you guys, I closed out this trade today for a total of $11,000 in profit. And not only that, but I also sent it in the trade signals. So yesterday I sent the GU buy limit right here at 549, and today we closed out the full position for $11,000. So this is the trade that's in question. This is the trade that I'm going to be breaking down for you guys today. So stick with me if you want to learn exactly why I took this trade and how I went about analyzing it. So the first thing that we want to do is chuck this back onto replay mode so that we can have a better understanding of what we're looking at. So if we go up to the daily time frame, we can start to see that we are in a bullish market, right? We're making a series of higher lows, higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and this is where we were on Sunday night. So after we've got a higher high, we know that we need to see a higher low before a continuation higher, right? So again, if we go back to my Discord, in the updates I put for GBP USD on Sunday night, I said that this is what I'm kind of expecting on the pound versus the dollar. This is where price was, and I expected price to come into this 4-hour demand zone before giving us a push higher, right? And if we come and drop down to the 4-hour, we can see that that is exactly what happened. So let me move this along just so you guys can see. Just like I said right here, that we would come into this 4-hour demand zone, price would go up, price came into this 4-hour demand zone and gave us that leg up, and we were able to secure a 1 to 10 in this crazy December market. So like I said, the first thing that we have to really understand is the directional bias of where we are in the market. So again, on the 4-hour, let's quickly see where we're at. So we've got higher high, higher low, higher high. So now we want to see a higher low, which is what we got right here, and then a higher high. So now that we know that we're in a bullish market, we want to start looking for buys, but we have to identify where price can come to before we start looking for these buys, right? So when price was up here, I had this demand zone marked out and also this demand zone marked out down here. The reason why I had these two is because if we take a fib, we know that anything below 50% is discount and anything above 50% is premium. So we don't want to look for anything up here because we know that it's probably going to be a very low quality trade. Anything below the 50%, we know these areas are more likely to be used for reversal because they are in the discounted zone. So now that we've got this demand zone here and this demand zone here, we know that price is going to come to one of these two before giving us a reversal. So the next thing we can do is we can drop down to the lower time frames and start refining where price can potentially come to. So as we can see, I refined it to this 1-hour inside bar that we have right here. And the reason why I refined it to the inside bar is because with an inside bar, that simply means that there was a high level of consolidation on the lower time frames, which didn't break the previous candle's high or low. And then we had a breakout, which means that there was accumulation happening here before a break to the upside, which means it's a high confluence area where there's a lot of orders stacked that price can gravitate towards. Now, if we continue on that same theory, we go down to the 15-minute and we can see that similarly, there was also this liquidation event right here where price swept the lows before breaking structure to the upside. And we go down even further on the 5 minutes and we can also see, if I zoom into this 4-hour demand zone right here, we have this order block right here that we can look at, which was the last down candle before the break out of this zone. So we know that this is a high confluence area because it mitigated this previous order block that was right here. Then we had a push up, then we got this order block which never got mitigated, and then we had a breaker structure, which means that this is a high confluence area that price can come into before we see a reversal, right? Or not even a reversal, before we see some sort of reaction. Right, so now that we've got all of that marked up, we now know that all we're going to do is we're going to sit on our hands until price comes into this zone before we actually start looking for any sort of entry. right? So the next thing we do is just wait. And whilst we're waiting, this is the perfect time to make sure that we're aware of what kind of news events are happening in and around us, because we don't want to get caught on the wrong side of a major news event. Now, for my own analysis, I like to use fastball.com. And the reason why I like to use fastball.com is because their user interface is super clean. As you can see, everything is presented right in front of you with this star system so that you know if it's a low, medium or high risk news event. You can also click on the news event and it will break down exactly what it is. It will show you previous news events and how they affected the market, and also the live charts so that you can see those too. Not only that, but alongside the economical calendar, which is again very clean to look at, they've also got things such as analysis, where you can get analysis from institutions and other analysts that are on fastball.com. On top of all of that, they have AI signals if you're somebody who likes to use signals to trade. They have more calendar news and news from all around the world all in one place so that you can get your news fix without having to leave this website. Not only that, but if you are somebody who likes to travel quite often, which I am, then the best thing is they also have a downloadable app that you can use so that you don't have to keep continuously going onto their website. You can just jump straight into that app, configure it to how you like. And if you're somebody like me who only likes to take a look at the red folder news event, you can then also configure it to only show you the high impact news. So again, if you go over to today, we can see that we've got all of this crazy news that's coming out. So you always want to be aware of what's happening and what's coming so that you can be well prepared. Because if you're somebody who fails to prepare, you prepare to fail. So that's why I like using fastball.com. So I'll leave a link down in the description. Make sure you check them out and make sure you download the app too so that you always have the news with you. Right, going back onto the trade itself. Now we're simply just waiting for price to come and give us an entry. So whilst we're waiting, again, as I said, make sure you're aware of your news events that are happening. And after that, here we go. Now, price has tapped into our 4-hour demand zone. So the number one thing that we have to remember is price can tap into the 4-hour demand zone. It doesn't necessarily have to go lower into our refined zone because there's nothing that price has to do. Price will do what it wants to do, right? So we could see a reaction from here. However, for more confluence, we have refined down to this 5-minute where we want price to go to in order to give us a much higher quality trade. So if we play price on, we can see that right there we get a market structure shift, because if we analyze structure, we can see we've got a lower low, lower high, lower low, failure to create a lower high, but instead we got this higher high. So the anticipation is we would get a higher low before a continuation higher, giving us a higher high. However, as this is the first push into this zone, we know that we want price to come a little bit lower. So this is most likely going to be a fake market structure shift to induce buyers into the market so that the market can use this as liquidity to push further down into this zone. And that is exactly what happens, because as we can see, price goes up a little bit, but then eventually comes down, liquidates this low so that it takes it out completely, pushing into our lower time frame demand zone that we refined down to, and then eventually giving us a market structure shift. And there we go. So there's our market structure shift. And now that we've got this, we now identify the area in which we want price to come down to before giving us the entry. Now, for me personally, I was looking at this area right here with the fair value gap. So if I mark this out right here, we've got this fair value gap with this order block. So I had it marked out just like this. And this is exactly how I sent it into the signals group. So as we can see, I said GU buy limit right here. So I had this marked out, this area where there was a lot of orders stacked. So this was a lot of nice consolidation. Let me remove this from the chart, make it a little bit cleaner. So this is how I sent out the trade, and this is where I anticipated price to come down to. So once I sent the trade, I had my stop loss just below this low, and then I had my target at the 4-hour supply zone, which is all the way up here, targeting a solid 1 to 10 risk to reward. So after we had our targets, stops and entry all in place, now the next thing to do is simply just wait for price to give us the entry. Now price did play around for a little while, and eventually she came down, tapped us in, and that is all she wrote. So this was a trade that we held overnight. It was quite late on in the session. This was, tagged in at around 7, which is very, very late, very outside of session. But I had a lot of confluence in this trade. This is something that I analyzed on Sunday, where I wanted price to come down to. And as you can see, price came in, gave us this beautiful entry. And now all we simply do is wait. We wait for price to continue its move so that we can actually go all the way to our target, and beautifully price went and beautifully hit our target. Now this is a super clean trade. As we can see, this is the current live market, so this is exactly where price is at the moment. So the trade has just closed out, and as we can see, I just sent this earlier today at 12, fully closed out the trade for $11,000. So amazing trade, held all the way to the take profit. Now my anticipation is that we'll probably get some sort of reversal from here, not a reversal all the way down, because remember, we are in a bullish market, but this is a very high influence zone where we can start for looking for entries. So I'll probably be short in the market from here, but again, there's a lot of people that do say that you shouldn't trade in December because the markets are slow and all of this and that, but as we can see, it doesn't have to be that way. As long as you have high quality trade setups, you can simply target nice areas of influence, take high quality trade setups, and everyone can end up making money. So if you guys aren't in the Discord already, please feel free to jump in and come and say hello. I will leave links in the description for everything. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.